Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain ATVMC. Thank you so much for checking in. Now, I don't think that there are too many dual sport bikes out there that encompass the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as well as the Yamaha TW200 does. This bike came out in the late 1980s, and since it first came out, it's still being made today. And just to give you an idea of how little this bike has changed since it came out in about 1987, is in 2001, they got rid of the kickstarter. They went to just an e-start. They went from a drum brake to a disc brake up front, a 35 watt to a 55 watt charging system, and a CV type carb. Now, aside from that, this bike really hasn't changed. And you always wonder, like, why is it so popular? Well, honestly, the reason for that is just because there's so many uses for it. You know, whether you just want to have it for cruising around the campfire when you're out there having a good time, if you want to have it as a daily commuter, you know, a workhorse around the farm, if you're a hunter and you want to take it on hunting, or just full on dual sport rides, doing multi-day rides off one of these things, you can do that. It just has a lot of uses to it, and that's why they just remain so popular. And that being said, we want to go through and show you today because this bike actually belongs to an employee right here at Rocky Mountain. And as you can see, he has outfitted this thing with just about everything that you can. And here at Rocky Mountain, we've been hard at work designing and putting a lot of products from Tusk on this bike. So we just want to go through and show you everything that is on here to give you a few ideas of what maybe you want to put on your TW200 depending on what your needs are. I'll start out with the items that I would say are probably must-haves because I actually did own a TW200, so I have some personal experience using one of these. So start with the things that I would say, yeah, everybody needs to have one of these on a T-Dub, and then we'll get to the other items that you don't have to have, but, you know, again, are nice to have on your bike. So that being said, must-haves. First up, foot pegs. Look, the stock foot pegs on a T-Dub, they're about, I'm pretty sure they're the same size as a PW50 foot peg. And what I found out real quick is they're way too small. They can hurt your feet because they're so small. You just don't get a lot of support. They're made of steel. They can break and bend pretty easily if you do crash or go down. So with that, we've got the Tusk billet foot pegs on here. Much larger, much better grip, so it's going to offer more comfort when you're on the bike, if you're standing up, doing some trail riding, but also a lot more grip. So they're just going to give you a lot more confidence, and that's especially important if you have, say, a rider who's new to riding or somebody who's just, you know, not that skilled on a bike. Those oversized foot pegs are just going to give a lot more confidence. And then from there, I'd say the shift lever. So we have the folding shift lever on here. Just because the stock shift lever, it's all steel, it's not folding, and that was something that I damaged fairly quickly when I had my TW200, so I quickly had to replace that. So with this one, it's made from aluminum, it's got a folding tip on there, so you're much less likely to damage that if you do go down. Now for taller riders that have larger feet, if you do feel like the stock shifter is a little bit too short, we do have another option that is 1 inch longer that you can choose from as well. And then the other item that is a must-have is the skid plate. Now, if you're just, say, commuting or you're just doing highway miles and you're not too worried about riding anything really off-road or where you're worried about maybe hitting the bottom of your bike, then yeah, the skid plate might not be one of those must-have accessories. But for me, trail riding when I was out hunting or anything like that, I had a few instances where I did hit the bottom of the bike, and with the 10.4 inches of ground clearance, which isn't a lot, it's more than likely going to happen to you. So the stock skid plate that comes on this bike, it's thin, doesn't give a lot of coverage, pretty wimpy, so get that thing out of there and put on the Tusk skid plate. This thing is 3/16 of an inch thick. It gives way more coverage side to side, front to back. It's super strong, easy to mount. In fact, we have a how-to video that walks you through step by step how to get that mounted on. So as far as protection goes for one of these, that is definitely a must-have accessory. Now moving up here to the front is the universal windscreen. Now, again, if you're commuting, doing long stretches on a dual sport ride, then having a windscreen makes a huge difference when it comes to comfort. Not only is it going to block the bugs, or if you get caught in some inclement weather, it's really going to help there. But if you've experienced it, you've been on long stretches of road where you're going at higher speeds and you just have that wind pounding against your body the whole time, it can give you a lot of rider fatigue. And so having this windscreen on there is going to help alleviate a ton of that. Or if you're on a highway and you're right behind a semi or another vehicle, you get that wind draft coming off and you're sitting there trying to fight that the whole time, this windscreen is amazing to have. It's nice and tall, so it's going to do a great job of keeping all that wind off your body. It's universal mounting. It's just designed to work with 7/8 handlebars, so remember that. But what's nice is that once you have this mounted, you can actually adjust it up and down just to kind of fine tune exactly where you want it. And you look at it here, it fits really good with the stock headlight setup that you have on the TW200. So awesome accessory to have. Now with the headlight, this is another really important upgrade that I would recommend for anyone to do, and it's exchange the light bulb. So The stock headlight on the T-Dub, it's gonna leave you desiring more light for nighttime. And so we've actually got the Tusk H4 LED bulb inside here. Total plug and play, very easy to put in. You just take off the headlight assembly, pop that stock bulb out, plug that one in, and it's gonna give you a lot more light at nighttime. So not only is it just nice to be able to see more, but it also is a big safety factor as well. So that's a really good upgrade to put. Now, as far as the handlebar setup here in the front, so the rider that owns this TW200, he's a taller person. He's well over 6 feet tall. So a couple of things that he did is, one, he swapped out the handlebars. The stock bars on these are steel, which means they're heavy. They bend pretty dang easy if you go down, so I would say get those things out of there. So he's got the Tusk aluminum T10 bars on here, a lot lighter, a lot stronger, but he's also got the CR high bend, which is gonna add a lot of rise, make it a little bit more comfortable for him, being that he is a taller rider. But he also went with the universal handlebar risers as well. Now there's two options for these. There's a 30 millimeter height and a 15 millimeter height, just depending on what's gonna be best for you. He's got the 30 millimeter risers on here, and those combined with that handlebar adds a lot more height. And for him, he said it was a game changer, just made this bike way more comfortable to ride, especially when he was standing up. And then you also see too, we've got the heated grips. So the Tusk Grip Heater Kit, universal, it just wraps right around your actual handlebars, and then you just install your grips over the top. And what's nice is that it's easy to wire up. We have how-to videos to show you how to do that, but you have two different heat settings, and trust me, a heated grip with a windscreen, and also you can see we've got the Tusk D-Flex full wraparound handguards on here. When you have a good pair of cold weather gloves combined with a heated grip and some handguards, it makes a huge difference. So if you don't want to worry about cold hands, that is the setup that you do want to go with. Now, speaking of these full wraparound handguards, not only do those shields protect your hands from wind, but also trail riding, hitting branches, things like that. It's great, but also because you do have the aluminum bars that wrap all the way around, that's going to protect your levers. Trust me, the levers on these, they can bend and break pretty easily, so that's something that you don't want to have to worry about, if you are going to be doing some off-road riding. So these full wraparounds have multiple purposes, but protects your bar ends. That's going to help also protect your levers from possibly breaking if you do go down. All right, moving to the back here, Tusk utility rack. So I want to take a little credit here, because when I had my TW200, I went to the guys in the R&D room and I said, we have got to build a rack for this thing. And they did a phenomenal job. This utility rack, it's got a nice large platform. It's powder coated aluminum. It looks awesome when it's mounted up. It's sleek, it has a clean look to it. It mounts right to the frame. And so it's very sturdy, so you can put heavier loads on here. But kind of what I talked about earlier, there's a lot of different uses for the T-Dub, whether it's commuting, trail riding, hunting, dual sport riding. And so it just gives you a large platform to put a tail bag, a duffel bag, whatever you want to put on here. And there's lots of cutouts. So it gives you easy attachment points to tie it down, whether you're using rock straps, tie downs, bungee cords, you name it. It's just really nice to have a way to carry some cargo with you on your ride. So this to me was by far one of my favorite accessories that I had on my TW200. Now, right here in the front is the Tusk Olympus tank bag. Now we have two sides with this tank bag. There's a small, which he has here. There's also a large. So the small fits on this bike really well. These are really easy to mount up if you've never used one before. You have a strap that goes around the headstay. You've got these in the back that go around the frame. But the tank bag is the perfect thing to have with you no matter what riding you're doing, for just easy access to items that you're going to be using often. Whether you want to put your phone, your wallet, your keys inside here, some snacks, chapstick, sunscreen, couple tools, things like that. Tank bags are the perfect location to do that. You've got a clear pocket in the top. So if you are doing some dual sport riding, you can put your GPS inside there. If you get caught in some bad weather, you can have it protected. And there's even a port so you can get your charging cord, if you have one of those, to go up inside the tank bag to charge your items while you are riding. Now, the last thing I do want to touch on with this is with the gearing. And this is going to be dependent on the rider, what your needs are, what type of riding you're going to be doing. But it's always a good idea to, have the right gearing depending on what you're going to be doing. So the rider that owns this, being he's well over 6 feet tall, he's a bigger guy. He actually went all the way up to a 55-2 sprocket. And the reason that he did that is he just felt like the stock gearing was just too tall. First gear was okay, but second, third gear, especially going up hills, he just needed lower gearing to make the bike more usable for him in those scenarios. He did lose some top end speed going up that high, but he said for him, it made a world of difference. Now, if you're a lighter rider, and then you probably don't need to go up that many when it comes to the gearing. But again, that's going to be rider preference. That's going to depend on you, what you're going to be doing. But always make sure that the gearing on any motorcycle suits you and what you want it to be. So with that being said, that's it. That is our overview / build for all the great Tusk parts that fit the Yamaha TW200. If you have questions or comments about this bike, we'd love to get those answered, so make sure leave those down below. And to grab all these parts and to see everything that'll fit your T-Dub, it's simple. Just click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com, enter the year, make, and model on the homepage, and you will see everything that will fit your motorcycle. As always, get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell, and that way you always stay up to date on videos just like this. I'm Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.